It's time for another episode of MoState Update, the official podcast of Missouri State Athletics. Now, here's your host, the new voice of the Bears, Corey Riggs.
Hello, everybody. It's that time again. Time for another episode of MoState Update, the official podcast of Missouri State University Athletics. I am your host, Corey Riggs. Thrilled to be back with you here for episode number 24. What are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about what everybody in Springfield's been talking about for the last couple of weeks. We're going to talk about Bears football. And we've got a couple of different interviews to bring you to showcase what's going on with the football program here on the Missouri State University campus. First off, we're going to talk to the Bears Director of Athletics, Patrick Ransdell, along with Associate Athletic Director for External Affairs, Kelsey Tolbert, to talk about what's going on with the Bears game day experience and what changes you can expect from week 1 to week 2 as Missouri State gets ready to play host to their one and only FCS opponent on the schedule this year, the Skyhawks of the University of Tennessee at Martin. Shortly after that, we'll sit down and talk about the Missouri State Football Players Association, the FPA. They got one of the best tailgates around at every Missouri State home game. You won't believe some of the things they do behind the scenes to help our Missouri State football student athletes. Trevor Crist is a part of that great organization, and he will join us a little bit later. Then at the end of the show, we'll wrap up, tell you what's going on around the Missouri State campus this week that you're going to want to make plans to be a part of. All of that and more coming up on this episode of MoState Update. Stay right there. Welcome back to MoState Update, everybody, the official podcast of Missouri State Athletics. Time to talk a little Missouri State football and the game day experience that everybody's been talking about in and around Springfield this week with the Missouri State Director of Athletics, Patrick Ransdell, and Kelsey Tolbert, the Associate Director of Athletics for External Affairs. And Saturday was amazing, you guys. I can't overstate that enough. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff we're going to talk about that's being worked on behind the scenes and everything else. But, Patrick, first and foremost, the game was great. To see the Bears come out, get an early lead, it be a one-score game at halftime, going toe-to-toe with a team that was in the top 15, 16 a week ago and in the postseason a year ago.
Yeah, there's no doubt, and this really speaks to the program that Ryan is building. So to jump out of the gate, get some points on the board early, our defense played lights out, especially in that first half, and it was just really, really great to see because it energized the crowd. It got them going because I think there was a lot of people who were like, how's this going to go? And, it really built confidence in the stands as well as our players on the field. So it was great to see. I think there's a lot more of that in our future. And I know we kind of, maybe wore down there a little bit in the second half, but, that's kind of one of those things when you're playing $20 and $30 million rosters, yes. Depth rears its head at some point, especially for a program who's building from the FCS to the FBS, and it takes multiple years of recruiting classes to really get that depth that you need to be able to compete for 40 minutes week in, week out at this level.
I think that was one of the biggest takeaways I had after leaving Los Angeles in the LA Memorial Coliseum, talking to Coach Beard after that first game, playing a $25, $30 million roster like you describe it, and knowing that, okay, the ones probably aren't going to be on the same level as we're making this first year foray into FBS. But the distance between the twos and the ones, and then even trying to work against the threes, there's just a ton of talent on these rosters that would be starting anywhere else in the country. So it's definitely something to keep in mind as we go on, although we won't see another team like USC or SMU. Going to see a lot of good football this season in Conference USA, but nothing quite like those two teams.
No, and, this weekend with UT Martin, I mean, they're a good ball club. We've seen that in the past. We've played them tight the last, 4 or 5 years. Mm-hmm. And then Western Kentucky comes in here, probably the most consistent team in Conference USA over the last 10. they're going to be able to put up some points, and we got our work cut out for us over the next couple of weeks. But winnable games down the stretch, and depth will kind of determine a lot as we head forward.
Kelsey, I can't imagine, as hard as you have been working since you hit the ground, since Patrick and the administration brought you in, that last Saturday was your first football game here.
Very first football
Even
game.
though you've been focused on it and other sports for months now, trying to get it ready. The flyover, the start of the game, everything was incredible. What were your big takeaways from your first Missouri State home football game?
Yeah, the big takeaway was the energy, and that was a lot of the unknown, is how were our students going to react, how was our fan base going to come in and make sure that they were there, because we did put a lot of effort into pyro, flyovers, the band, all of that pomp and circumstance that happens pregame. If nobody's in the crowd to see that, then they don't experience that. Or if they're not inside of the stadium early enough to go see those two turnovers, the whole atmosphere changes. So our fan base and the energy that they brought, because they were there, was amazing.
You mentioned that the experience is something that's important, and if you missed the beginning of it, you kind of missed a big chunk of the story. We're talking about from week 1 to week 2. In coaching circles, you always say that you make the biggest jump as a team from week 1 to week 2. This is home game 1 to home game 2. I know you're talking to your team about how we can make a big jump from one to the other. What are some of the things that you were hearing after that first game that we can kind of help fans with and make that game day experience just that much more better the next time?
Yeah, the big things is we did send out a post-game survey to all of the fans that did come, and we're going to continue to do that. So I suggest that fans would give us their feedbacks, both positives and negatives, because we don't know what we don't know, because we're in the game and we're living the game just like the fan is. But the things that we're hearing are just continuing to remember their clear bag policy, making sure that they're inside the stadium before kickoff does happen, and really understanding the difference between tailgating in Lot 22 versus Bearfest Village tailgating, and where fans can go and can't go. There's really, as long as you're not necessarily on the field, and you go where your ticket's supposed to be, Bearfest Village is open for our fans to partake, even those fans that are tailgating over in Lot 18 and 22.
There's a new area, Patrick, too, that maybe I think got utilized but might be able to get utilized more, which is that new boulevard deck that's kind of at the top of the student section area, because that's a new addition this year.
Yeah, I mean, so that deck up there on the east side is probably one of the best seats in the house. If you just go up there and just kind of stand up there and watch things, it's a wonderful location. So hopefully this week, we'll get some more messaging out on that area and just remind people that that's up there now. So maybe we didn't do as good a job of that last week as we could have, but I will brag on our staff a little bit right now. I mean, we put a lot of work into last week, and kind of the behind-the-scenes stuff that most people don't realize. There was a lot of stuff that between all the AV talking to each other, the audio, the video, all that stuff, DJ, a lot of that stuff didn't get hooked up until about 36 hours before kickoff. So we talked a lot during the off season, right? And to actually pull it off in that short time frame, kudos to Kelsey and our entire external staff and our video production people to pull all that off right before kickoff, basically, was a big task, and they did a great job.
No, it was fantastic. I keep thinking back to, I remember just having a moment during the national anthem, Black Hawk helicopter flyover, and I'm looking to my left and I see this CBS intro, and I can hear, because I usually always slip one earphone off so I can hear what's going on around me, and I hear that CBS music hit with images of Plaster Stadium. I don't know that I ever thought I would see that in my lifetime. And then Mother Nature helps out, and your Bears end up basically being the nation's game for a little while.
Yeah, so we were on Big Boy, I call it Big Boy CBS,
yes,
for about 45 minutes. I mean, I started getting texts from people across the country saying, hey, you're on CBS. And by the way, it was while we were up 10-0.
Yes,
right? So
the perfect time.
Yes. So it was great. I have that whole intro clip on my phone, and because that theme song gets me going, right? I mean, I think of the Army-Navy game. I think of the Iron Bowl. I think of a lot of really prominent games that have been over on CBS over the years. Alabama, LSU. There's a lot of stuff, and and you hear that, and then all you see is our stadium and Bears everywhere. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, when I'm on the air, when I'm calling a game on radio, I don't normally like to look at my phone a whole lot. I couldn't help it. I was getting text messages from friends, fraternity brothers from St. Louis, Fayetteville, one fraternity brother that's out in Arizona going, "You're on CBS." Like, I thought you were on CBS Sports. No, you're on CBS. How did this happen? And I'm like, you can thank Mother Nature.
That's right.
That's just a lucky break.
Was it the last time we were on CBS? Was the 1999 Duke Sweet 16 game?
Yes. Yep. That would have been the last time we were on that. This game being a national broadcast as a part of the CBS Sports package was the first time that football has been on national TV since 1981.
Right.
That was a regional broadcast between what was then Southwest Missouri State University and Southeast Missouri State University, a dynamic directional battle between two schools back in the early 80s. So definitely a very different time. Kelsey, we want to go back and talk just a little bit about how people can get in early. A big part of being able to get in early is making sure that you have your tickets early, right? Whether that's purchasing them at the window or making sure you download them before you get to the venue.
Yeah, this weekend, our ticket out number is just as much as SMU. It's family weekend coming into UT Martin, so we're expecting a crowd, if not bigger, but just the same size. And it's a night game, so our fans are going to have to worry about the 95-degree heat that they worried about last weekend. It's going to be about 80 at kickoff. We're going to get down into the low 60s. It's going to be a really nice weather game, so really making sure that our fans are aware that if they're waiting until the last minute, ticket lines are going to be something that they have to worry about. They have to worry about Wi-Fi. I'm glad everybody was texting you guys, and you guys were able to get texts. I was not on the field.
Sorry.
So
it's better Wi-Fi up in the press box, I'm afraid.
Wi-Fi is an issue, and cell service is an
Yes.
issue once you have that many people here. So waiting until they get even to the parking lots to have, if they have their downloaded tickets or digital tickets, it's as simple as just making sure that they're at to where the barcode shows up. Sometimes I know Android doesn't necessarily work to the Android wallet, but Apple, if you save it to your Apple wallet, that's the easiest thing to do. But if you do have to still use your browser, just making sure you get to at least the barcode screen.
And Patrick, I know there was another change for this first game, but it really isn't a change for anybody that goes to sporting events on the regular, and that was Missouri State needed to and did institute a clear bag policy, and definitely had a lot of them, I believe, available at the bookstore and kind of around Bearfest Village.
Yeah, we did, and it's just kind of one of those things, sign of the times, and we're just kind of keeping up with the Joneses, and of all across the country, you see this at venues similar to ours, and so we didn't have a ton of negative feedback after this game, so I think a lot of people got the message, but we're going to have a whole new crop of new people this week, right? So it's going to a similar size crowd, but different people who are coming because it's mom and dad coming from, Oklahoma City or Dallas or wherever.
A lot of
first-time people. So just, make sure that, we told people when they pulled into the parking lots. We gave them a sheet when they pulled in the parking lots talking about the clear bag policy. It's all that stuff. Don't leave your car. Make sure you leave it in there so you don't have to make the trek back to your car, which nobody wants to do. So, back in at it this weekend, and we'll see how it goes.
One more thing before I let you both go. Not necessarily burying the lead, but the Bears have 6 night games this year. It's the most they've had since 2014. But this being the first night game at Missouri State means this is the first time we get to play with our new lights. Kelsey, talk to me a little bit about maybe what fans can expect and from the new lights that were a part of the upgrades that have been done to plaster.
Yeah, you're going to get the lights a lot. Sundown is at 7:12, so we'll do the lights at as many times as we possibly can. So on team intros, the sun will still be up, so it'll be setting, so you'll get some of the effect, but you won't necessarily start seeing that until probably the second halftime into the second half once the sun is really setting down. But we're going to do the lights on touchdowns. We're going to do the lights on any team score, and then just wait till the fourth. As we're going into the fourth quarter, we get something fun. So fans need to stay in the stands for that quarter break. It's going to be great.
On top of that, if you happen to be watching on ESPN Plus, one, we want you to come to Plaster. But if you happen to be watching because you live somewhere else in the country, don't freak out if the screen goes dark. It's just the new lights, because that's going to be something that people aren't used to. Now, you've seen it at Hammons Field, you've seen it at other venues, but just haven't had something like that at Plaster before, Patrick, and honestly, rarely ever play a night game.
Right, yeah. So when I first got here, I thought that was interesting that we rarely ever played night games. And I'm sitting here in September. It's toasty.
It should be necessary to play at night in September.
But yes, I mean, Biff and our administration have invested this offseason, and one of the investments was new lights. We obviously needed new lights for broadcast purposes, but while we're at it, we might as well add in the LED lights that are able to be, have the show a part of it. My technical term, Kelsey always laughs, I call it the Blinky Show. So
I don't know a better technical term either. So
it's very technical over here, Corey. But we're, it's going to be fun, and I can't wait to see it. I've been looking forward to that as much as anything about our game day experience going into the season. It actually happened last week. We did a lot of stuff. If you were paying attention, it was just happened to be really bright and sunny and 95 degrees.
I noticed it because I sit kind of eye high to them, so I have a different vantage point than most people do. But I will look forward this Saturday to a Bears win and a very entertaining Blinky show. And we'll see how it goes. Patrick Ransdell and Kelsey Tolbert, thank you both for coming in and talking to us, okay?
Sounds great.
We're going to take a break. More MoState Update here in just a minute. Welcome back. Episode number 24 here on MoState Update, the official athletics podcast of Missouri State University. Thrilled to be joined now by a Missouri State alum and Missouri State supporter, that being the CEO at Nixon Lidstrom Insurance here in Springfield, Trevor Crist. Trevor, thank you for coming by and taking a few minutes to talk to us today, man.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
I've been looking forward to this. I did not realize you and I have some of the same upbringing. I did not know you spent time in good old Jasper County and matriculated around Webb City.
I did, definitely spoiled by some decent football back in the day. But I
More than decent.
also didn't realize that I was among a fellow Cardinal here.
Oh, yeah. Very, very proud. That's why it broke my heart when Gary Clinton got injured during the preseason. I was looking forward to Gary having a big year, former Webb City guy, tight end for the Bears, and wasn't in the cards. They practice with helmets and shoulder pads just like they play, and sometimes stuff happens. But talk to me first about kind of how you got to Springfield. You kind of moved around a little bit growing up. How did you end up making your way to then SMS and becoming a Bear?
So as you mentioned, grew up, early on, elementary school age down in Webb City, Missouri. And then my dad's job took us up to Lincoln, Nebraska for junior high school.
More good football.
I was going to say my formidable years, if you will, and pretty spoiled because I thought everyone went to the national title every year growing up there. So was definitely in Lincoln for the right years during the 90s, and then in 1996, whenever I graduated, I moved down here. Family relocated again. I decided to follow them and moved here and went to SMS.
So when we talk about the fact that you are a big part of the Missouri State Football Players Association, which is a not-for-profit organization that supports the football program on this campus, is it safe to say that because you grew up in a town like Webb City where football is first and foremost, then you end up spending quite a bit of time in Nebraska where, especially in the Dr. Tom Osborne era, there was no better place to be, that football's always kind of had a special spot in your heart?
Absolutely. I always tell people when they ask where the interest came from, I think number one is what you just referred to, growing up in two communities that embraced it and celebrated a lot of success. But more importantly, I saw how if it's done right, it can be the front door to the community. And I always joke that the most depressing day of my life was in 1996 when I went to my first SMS football game and no one wanted to tailgate. Yeah. And I thought, well, what do you do on game day Saturdays? And they're like, well, not that. And so we saw an opportunity over the years and a passion to maybe bring a little bit of that here to Springfield with the Bears.
It's crazy to me. Only guys like us that have been around for a while realize that it used to be Lot 24 was the only place you could crack a beer.
That's correct.
Before a Missouri State football game. Now you can drink anywhere, and that lot is now the student tailgate lot, and it was packed last Saturday.
Absolutely, yeah, it was good to see, and that was obviously a great advancement when President Smart was here, allowing some alcohol on campus for a tailgating experience that people wanted to come and stay, hopefully, and I think we're continuing to evolve into more of a game day experience.
Oh, absolutely. I say it's definitely a different vibe than when I was a student, when you were a student. And it's definitely a move in the right direction, considering the move to FBS football. So talk about how have things changed at all for the FPA with the feeling, and I don't want to say pressure, really the privilege of finally seeing this program lifted up to the highest level that college football has?
Absolutely. And when you mention changes, I think part of it is that expectation, and the FPA is proud, to say and be a part of helping elevate. We think during that time, because as you know, nothing has evolved in the last 4 years in this world more than the NIL.
Yeah.
And what the rules weren't, what they were, what they've changed to. We always say that when we went to our very first meeting, where a lot of the initial interest and opportunity came was when Coach Petrino was here. And, as I told someone, whether he ever wins a game or not, he's going to bring some exposure to the program. And as a result, now's the time to either decide if we want to be a football school or not. And, during that time, we were handed a pamphlet by the AD and said, well, we can't talk to you about this, but if you want to go out and raise some money, you can. And that was the status of the NIL at that time.
That's a unique way to do business. It's not like one of my favorite 30 for 30s, and it's ironic considering who we just hosted here, but was the Pony Excess.
Oh, unbelievable. The original NIL, if you will.
That's right. when you could just give bags of money to somebody in public, and back then eventually it bit you in the tail, but it didn't for very long. It's a whole new world in college football because of the NIL, because of the arms race that there is. You talk about exposure for this program, and I'm curious how you and the guys that are on the board, the people that are on the board for the FPA, feel about the exposure that you've seen for this program the first 3 games of the season. Coach Beard and I have talked about this at length on his coach's show, and the way Ryan sees it is we've gotten more exposure in 3 games than we've probably gotten in 30-plus years of football here.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's exciting. I know the university has done a great job knowing that exposure is going to be coming. A little bit of that on our home turf, literally, upgrading the field to have that Missouri State presence, the Bear and MoState, knowing that we're going to be on ESPN, CBS for some of those opportunities. That's going to bring, I think, a lot of exposure. As you said, kicking off against USC, it was a tough game for sure, but great exposure. And then I think that the following week to go out and get a come-from-behind road win against Marshall, I think it had been 15 years since the last time they lost a home opener. That was pretty impressive, and I think got people pretty excited.
Yeah, they snapped a 8 straight home winning streak. That Marshall was top 4 in winning percentage in the country. Wow. Alabama, Boise State, Oklahoma, then Marshall since they made the move from FCS to FBS back in 1997. Now they made the move, Trevor, coming off of 2 national championships in FCS and having names like Pennington and Moss.
Right.
We haven't had that sort of renaissance yet, but how do you feel the program is poised right now in this first year of the transition? Maybe what's the greatest need you see for Missouri State football right now?
Well, I think you touched on it a minute ago. Number one is exposure. You have to get that for everything else to start moving. Number two, I think that the biggest thing is educating our community on the excitement and the opportunity, getting people bought in, filling the stadium, getting people to stay during games. That comes with providing a good product and having the talent and winning some games. But I think we saw that last week, just the excitement, the amount of fun people were having, proud to be around campus, and a true game day experience in Bearfest Village.
I'm really proud of what you all do with the FPA, not just as far as fundraising goes, but I think something that the coaches and the players appreciate, but maybe the fan base doesn't realize, is what you do specifically for these players. I believe the program's called the Fifth Quarter, and you talk to these guys about financial planning, about how to interview for a job. Tell me a little bit about what you guys do to try and help the football players get ready for that next phase after their playing years of eligibility run out.
Yeah, so as part of the FPA, or the Football Players Association, which was originally started by Scott Offer here locally, and then really accelerated by Dennis Heim and Kirk Elmquist and some other really strong benefactors, that you had some people, including Kurt Helwig and John Baker, who took an interest in this mentor opportunity of the Fifth Quarter and a way to differentiate our program and what we're preparing these guys for. So as it insinuates, the Fifth Quarter is preparing these guys for life after football. Very few people go on to play at the next level statistically. You probably know that number. I don't.
I would say it's below 5%. I think there's something about like 4% of high school athletes get to go to college, and then that percentage drops down from there to go professionally. It's like a winning lottery ticket. It's really rare.
It is. So a lot of times these student athletes are so busy focusing on their academics and football that they forget that they're going to have a plan beyond this, most likely. And so the Fifth Quarter program, which, like I said, is a program underneath our Football Players Association, is something where we put together monthly programming during the season for the players and into the following semester, and focus on, as you mentioned, things such as nutrition, financial planning, mentorship. We do a career fair where we bring local partners in that come in, interview, and it's amazing at how many actual jobs come out of those conversations as well.
Yeah, I'm spoiled. I get to travel with these guys. I get to do a coach's show on Monday night where I get to interview 2 players every Monday night. I don't think the community at large maybe realizes how good a young men that Ryan Beard and this staff have in this program. There are some great young men and really smart guys that are walking across this campus every day and then putting that helmet on Saturday for us.
Yeah, it is really impressive, and it's motivating. I mean, they're impressive young men, and to see them show those strengths in other areas other than athletics is a lot of fun. And we're always pleasantly surprised, specifically whenever we do our financial planning, financial literacy course, the questions that come out of them, we all kind of look around a little surprised, like, wow, where did that come from? So it really is a neat experience on both sides.
If people want to get involved, what's the best way for them to do that?
So first of all, you can go to MissouriStateFootball.org. So MissouriStateFootball.org. That's our kind of central website. It's a great resource for all things Bears football, specifically the FPA. And there's information on that website of how they can contribute or just simply get involved. We'd love to talk to them if they have an interest in kind of giving back. You mentioned a little bit about the game day experience in Bearfest Village. We've got a really, really neat experience out there, and if they'd like to join that tailgate, there's a way to do that on the website as well.
Now, that's all great information. We'll make sure and put the website up here before we're done. And then, it's about individuals being able to help, but you're the CEO at Nixon Lindstrom. Companies support at Missouri State specifically for football are a big deal. I know you're a big part of that.
Yeah, and I think that President Williams just came out with a statement the other day talking about how important businesses are going to be to the success of the university, and that's a really, really big focus of him and his initiative. I had the honor of being on the presidential search committee whenever they were narrowing down some of the options, and that was one of the things we were just extremely impressed with. President Williams was his vision of really, as he said, turning the community maroon, and not just getting them to game day, but seeing it when you're driving around Springfield on a daily basis. So, and to your point, those corporate supporters have been enormous for the Football Player Association through their sponsorships. Our annual golf tournament, which is typically in May, is our biggest fundraiser of the year. Our kickoff dinner with the Beards is also a large fundraiser, and these companies getting involved is a big part of that.
Well, I appreciate what you do for Missouri State football for our school, and look forward to seeing you this weekend when the Bears get back at it against Tennessee Martin.
All right. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to brag about it a little bit.
No, I appreciate you taking the time. Trevor Crist joining us here on MoState Update. We'll take one final break, come back and wrap up this episode here in just a minute. Well, that's all the time for this episode of MoState Update. We thank you all for joining us again. A big thanks to our guests on this episode, starting with the Director of Athletics, Patrick Ransdell, here at Missouri State, along with the Associate Director of Athletics for External Communications and Affairs, being Kelsey Tolbert. And a big thank you to Trevor Crist, the CEO of Nixon Lindstrom Insurance, a big part of the Missouri State Football Players Association, talking about all the great work they do behind the scenes for our Missouri State student athletes. Normally at this time in the show, we talk to you about all the things that are going on this week on campus, but most of the teams for Missouri State are on the road this week. Volleyball's on the road. Men's and women's soccer is on the road, but football is home again, and it's the first of 3 straight night games for Missouri State as we welcome everybody for Family Weekend here on the Missouri State University campus. Moms, dads, aunts, uncles, grandmas, grandpas, you name it, come on out and support your new Bear or your longtime Bear as you get ready for Family Weekend. It's going to be a great matchup with the University of Tennessee Martin Skyhawks. Kickoff is set for 6 o'clock at Robert W. Plaster Stadium. We hope to see you all there. If you've got questions about Family Weekend, or if you need to figure out how you can get your tickets for an upcoming Missouri State football game or another athletic event, it's real easy. Go online to MissouriStateBears.com. That's www.MissouriStateBears.com. It's your one-stop shop for all things Missouri State athletics related. So go check it out. Buy your tickets. We hope to see you at Robert W. Plaster Stadium on Saturday night. Until next time, I'm Corey Riggs saying, remember, there's no state like MoState. This has been MoState Update. Here is a part of the Learfield Network.
You've been listening to the MoState Update with Corey Riggs. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Missouri State Sports Network.